Ya. Jadi Pak Arif has read some articles or books about how Freemason influenced Indonesia, and based on the story that the Dutch came here. That's based on also Freemason movement. His question is, what kind of members are Freemason have, and whether they are just people who has diversity in religion or tolerance, or businessmen, people with economic power.
Well, during history, I think the constellation, the constellation of our lodges changed. In the beginning, it was especially aristocrats who were members in 18th century. Later, also, let's say the entrepreneurs, the business people become member. Especially in the 19th century. Nowadays, there are all kind of social classes member. In my lodge there are solicitors, dentists, people working for the local government, teachers, even people taking care for little children. So there is a mixture, a swim teacher. So there is nowadays a mixture of all professions, I would say. It's not just the elite, but the elite is also still a member. The elite, or some people from the elite, business people or people in parliament, sometimes are also member. In Indonesia, in the beginning, when the Dutch introduced Freemasonry, first there were 2 lodges in Jakarta. One was more attracting people from the elite. Let's say people who were here for the case of the Queen, of the Dutch, of the King of Holland. But there were also other lodges which were more attracting lower people, from lower classes. And during the evolution of Freemasonry here, we see that most Masons in Indonesia were what we call Indos, which is a Dutch father and an Indonesian mother. So they were, let's say, the churches tried to, the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church tried to convert to Christianity or to Catholicism or to Protestantism the local people. Freemasonry had as a target group more the Indos. But during the time, I think there's a kind of more and more lower class people become a member. So for instance, in my country, we are a very small country in Belgium. We are maybe about 11 million people. It's a big city here, it's smaller than Jakarta. Well, we have about 25,000 members in Freemasonry. So this is not the elite. There are not 25,000 elite in Belgium. It's only 2% of this 11 million who is the elite, who possess more than 50% of the ground, of the factories and so on. So it's certainly not the elite anymore. But I think I speak too long.
Jadi pada tahap awal memang Freemason anggotanya elit itu tidak hanya pengusaha, pejabat tinggi atau orang-orang yang punya pengaruh ya, tapi kemudian juga menjangkau hampir semua macam profesi. Di tempat Pak itu ada dokter, gigi, perawat anak dan guru dan segala macam ya, teman-teman apartemen. Jadi dari pengusaha juga ada, tapi tidak fokus hanya pengusaha atau hanya elit saja. Sekarang macam-macam. Dan anggotanya di Belgia dengan penduduk 11 juta itu hanya 25.000. sebenarnya nggak banyak sebenarnya dalam suatu perkumpulan ini. So from the beginning, Freemason is not only for the businessmen.
No, certainly not. In the beginning, it was the aristocrats and a lot of people from the army in the beginning. And in the beginning, they didn't have a building, they didn't have a temple. It was when the businessman became member that they say we should invest in temples, and then use this temple. So because they had a building, it was one of the reasons because they started to grow. Because if you only use once a week a building, well, it becomes wet and dirty and so on. So they attracted more and more members in a way to also to be able to maintain the building. It's certainly not from the beginning business people. So first aristocrats, people from the army, later the bourgeoisie, the businessman, and I think now more democratic. Almost everybody can become a member, even if you cannot pay the fee, which is about, most places about 300 or 350 euro per year. Even if you cannot pay, so
great. It's good.
I can speak.
Yeah.
So even if you cannot pay, like for instance in my lodge, somebody was unemployed, no job, very low income, but he can become a member, because it's not your financial position that will decide that you can become a member. It's more about your attitude, and your behavior.
Jadi di awal itu aristokrat, mungkin PNS-nya atau tentara gitu ya. Dan di awal gerakan ini belum mempunyai gedung. Mereka nyebutnya loji, bahasa Indonesia loji, bahasa Inggrisnya lodge gitu ya. Lodge, atau kalau di sini mungkin sanggar lah gitu, sanggar loji. Kemudian kita ada bisnismen masuk, baru mereka punya donatur untuk punya gedung. Nah, di sekarang ini anggotanya kalau di Eropa, anggota harus membayar 350 euro per tahun. Tapi bukan itu yang menentukan untuk diterima jadi anggota. Kan ada juga orang yang tidak mampu pengen jadi anggota, tapi yang penting tadi perilaku, kemudian prinsip-prinsip yang dia anut teman itu sesuai dengan itu.
So let me just give an example of myself maybe. I was born in 1953, 7 years after the war. My parents were very poor. We did not have electricity in my house. There was no running water in the house. We didn't have a bathroom. Toilet was outside. So I'm coming from a lower social class. But okay, we had the chance in the 1960s, due to social policy, to study, to go to school and to go to university with support of the state. So I was able to study, but I'm certainly not from the elite. So I think a lot of people like me, just from the working class, can become a member now. And a lot are really members. Besides some people from with a better socio-economic background.
Ya, ini Pak Edwin sendiri lahir tahun 53, itu 8 tahun sudah perang dunia kedua tadi. Dari keluarga miskin, nggak punya macam-macam tadi ya, kamarnya kecil, terus kamar mandi juga di luar, dan segala macam. Terus dia bisa, singkat cerita, kemudian dia bisa kuliah, bisa menjadi anggota. Padahal dia dari kelas paling bawah lah, nggak banyak orang miskin bisa. Jadi Freemason tidak harus untuk orang kaya.
Organisasi itu sampai sekarang ada berarti?
So that the organization of Freemason still exists. That's the question. The what? Organization of Freemason.
Yeah, of course. In many countries there is Freemasonry. Like in Belgium, like in my city alone, there are about 10 lodges. So in Belgium there are maybe about 200 or something. In Indonesia there were in 1923 about 25 lodges. So what, like in France, in Germany, in Holland, even in Cuba, I visited Freemasonry in Cuba, which is strange because it's a communist regime, but they accept Freemasonry, members of the government were member in Cuba of Freemasonry. But there is no international organization. You have in every country groups of Freemasons, or groups of lodges, we call it obediences, and we have relations of friendship with lodges in other countries. Ya,
masih ada. Jadi di Belgia masih ada sekitar 200 logi ya, sanggar yang disebut. Kalau di Indonesia dulu awal 1900-an, 1913 ada sekitar 25 logi. Sekarang mungkin sudah ditutup karena tahun 63 kan dilarang ya. Tapi justru kan kemudian membuka lagi kan. Di Kuba yang komunis saja ada, padahal komunis itu paling benci sama Freemason. Karena Freemason itu mengajarkan kebebasan berpikir. Mungkin ada pertanyaan lain?
Iya.
Oke, monggo.
Kalau batasan kebebasan berpikir itu misalkan dalam menilai suatu nilai, artinya nilai-nilai dalam diri sebuah pemahaman luhur, itu kalau Freemason itu menilainya seperti apa? Sebab begini, kalau misalkan dogma misalkan agama A, kalau ditinjau kebenaran itu bahwa milik agama A, tentunya kalau agama B jelas salah kebenaran tersebut, kan begitu. Tapi kalau Freemason melihat kebenaran itu seperti apa?
His question is how does Freemason see about the truth? Let's say if a religion has a dogma, so for this religion this is the truth, but for a religion perhaps that's not true. How about Freemason see about the universal truth?
Is
there any standard or how do
we
evaluate?
One of the goals we have is search the truth, try to find the truth. That's one of the missions we have, is to become a member, try to search for the truth, but also listen to others who have maybe another truth or another interpretation of the world. But it's an important question you ask, because you have in fact two big groups in Masonry. The more Anglo-Saxon Masonry accepts dogma, even so members who are really believing and who are Catholic or Protestant or Jewish can become a member. In the more Latin Freemasonry, which is more inspired by the French, this is more difficult. Members should not accept dogmas. That's the difference. Yeah.
Jadi ini menarik dari sebenarnya salah satu tujuan Freemason adalah bagaimana pribadi-pribadi itu mencari kebenaran yang sesungguhnya. Mencari kebenaran yang sesungguhnya, jadi tidak ada standar baku gitu ya. Jadi nanti ada pencarian itu terus dilakukan. Terus di Freemason juga ada dua kutub. Yang satu ada yang silahkan mempercayai dogma, misalkan yang Katolik, Protestan, Yahudi segala macam. Tapi ada juga di beberapa negara yang tinggalkan dogma.
Like for instance in Belgium, both coexist. So some people like to become a member of lodges where you really have to express your belief in God. So the letter G is hanging in the temple, and the letter G is the first letter of God, and you have to accept that. In our lodge, where I am a member, we also have this letter G, but we do not impose how to interpret it. You can say, I'm a pantheist, I believe God is everywhere. God created everything, so He's everywhere. I can believe that if I want, in my lodge. You are not forced to accept a kind of interpretation.
Jadi di Belgia juga ada dua kutub tadi, ada dua-duanya. Jadi ada yang silakan beribadah, ada juga yang Tapi simbol Freemason sendiri yang ada huruf G-nya itu G, kata G itu dari God. Jadi sebenarnya Freemason itu awalnya menyarankan harus percaya pada Tuhan, tapi dengan konsep mereka. Seperti Pak Ed ini, saya ateis, ya, pengertian tidak mempercayai dogma-dogma yang beredar, tapi punya konsep sendiri. Tapi sebenarnya percaya.
Iya.
Yeah.
Yang dimaksud tidak mempercayai pada dogma itu artinya bukan berarti tidak mempercayai Tuhan, begitu maksudnya?
Ya, betul. Dia punya konsep sendiri.
Oh iya, iya.
Dengan pendekatan pribadi.
Lah terus apa?
Privasi.
Ya, privasi.
Cuma kadang saya berpikir ini mungkin kadang saya berpikir itu bahwa tugas daripada manusia salah satunya adalah mencari kebenaran Gusti Allah yang belum ditemukan. Artinya apa? Kebenaran yang bisa bermanfaat. Contoh, kalau zaman Nabi dulu tidak mungkin ada konsep tentang pesawat terbang. Artinya bahwa ada besi yang bisa dinaiki orang dan itu bermanfaat untuk manusia. Itu dalam hal teknologi. Mungkin kalau dalam hal kemasyarakatan, usaha kemasyarakatan seperti penemuan Pak Bung Karno itu bahwa itu istilahnya begini. Kemerdekaan adalah hak segala bangsa. Oleh sebab itu maka penjajahan di atas dunia harus dihapuskan. Artinya bahwa konsep persamaan derajat terhadap sesama makhluk Tuhan itu sesuatu yang konsep berpikir tentang penemuan kebenaran untuk memperbaiki taraf hidup kemanusiaan. Apakah seperti itu salah satu targetnya begitu? Atau mungkin maksudnya begitu?
Yeah, he's asking whether the search of truth is including the search of truth about what the so-called God willing for human being to make a better life and so on, and also some example what Soekarno did in introducing the concept of equality. So there's freedom, freedom for all nations, things like this. Whether Freemason searching truth like this.
We don't have a system of truth. When we become member, we say we will do our best to find the truth. But about religion, we don't discuss. We respect your interpretation of God, and or from the others, and it can be different. In many lodges, there is a kind of rule, we don't discuss about it, we just respect it. And it's probably different, but we also, what I see in almost every religion, even religious people don't agree about the concept of God. Even today, like in Afghanistan, hundreds of people die because of bomb attacks, because of different interpretations of God. So we don't want violence. We respect the different opinions about God, but we are not going to fight about it. But of course, by listening to each other, our goal is to become tolerant. I don't know. There is no system imposed about anything. The Freemasons will never take a social position also. For instance, when I became a member, there was a lot of discussion about cruise missiles with atomic power, and some of us wanted that Freemasonry would do a kind of public statement against the war. But even that is not possible. We respect that even in the lodge people think different about the war. Should we rearm our country for the time being? We are in Europe. Russia is for the time being attacking Ukraine, and so a lot of people in our countries think we should have a stronger army. But you can also think the opposite. And we speak about it. We don't impose, and we don't have a general idea about anything. Not about religion, not about politics. But by listening to each other, we hope that the point of view of everybody maybe become more balanced.
prinsipnya di Freemason ini mereka lebih banyak mendengarkan satu sama lain, respect ke pendapat masing-masing ya. Seperti tadi beri contoh, ini konflik Rusia Ukraina. Terus warga Belgia yang berpendapat, oh kita harus perkuat angkatan bersenjata kita. Tapi ada juga yang pendapat lain ya. Di Freemason semuanya didengarkan aja semua. Nanti mau dicari yang terbaik yang seperti apa. Tapi itu bukan diskusi yang terus menerus. Jadi tidak ada panduan, oh harus ikuti dia, harus nggak ada. Jadi saya kira seperti tadi untuk mencari hal yang bermanfaat itu yang melalui mendengarkan, ini punya ide apa, punya gagasan apa. Jadi tidak kemudian dihakimi, oh salah atau ini nggak mungkin itu, kira-kira begitu. Dan mereka tidak mendiskusikan